And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster and I'm touching base with you as I do every day during the week and sometimes on Saturdays when I'm on the move. And yesterday I was on the move. I was hanging out at the art gallery celebrating the ancestors. We are the ancestors. We are becoming the ancestors. And so it's really great. Oh gosh, let me just get my thoughts together as I wake up here. I got so much on my mind. I had before I go to the gallery conversation, first I'll just say good morning to everyone again. Yesterday I had a conversation with one of my neighbors. He's an older gentleman, probably about maybe 10 years older than I am. So he's about 70 years old. And we were talking, and there's been a couple of things this week that have been so disturbing to me, and so it's appropriate for Trend Watch because it pretty much goes into that, which is being in the big main media. And he's a 70-year-old gentleman, smart, educated, helps young people, has a great asset to the community. And he says, "I'm not voting." I was so taken back by our conversation. I just sat in we were hanging out in our courtyard, and I just sat there and said, "What is going on? What is happening to what is happening? What is happening?" And I have to tell you folks, as this election draws near, I am trying not to have anxiety. I'm trying to be more um regulated, as in how I participate, as in connecting with some folks. And but it's just it to me, I just can't believe that someone that's 70 years old, intellectual, 70 plus or near 70, understood what our martyrs have done in the Black community to so that we can vote, is saying, "I'm not voting." Even with understanding. And the points were so crazy. It was beyond the pale. And but some of the stuff he made sense, but that was not a reason to not vote. There was, to me, nothing can eclipse the need to vote. Anyway, let me say good morning to some folks, because I'm in one of those days. I'm in one of those emotional days. Oh, sorry. That was a bad inhale. Okay. Hey, Amparo's in the building. Good morning, Amparo. Good morning, Serena and Bryan. I owe you an apology. I was supposed to get back to you, and I did not, because my life over here has become so busy and crazy. So, but you're still more than welcome to pop on if I can send you an invite to come on. What's going on, Aya? How you doing, my friend? Good morning. Good morning. And Kellya's in the building. Today is also touch. Obviously, it's our TrendWatch Thursday, and Chris is missing. Chris is on the road right now. I think he's probably at the airport. He may be already in the air on a project and assignment. So he's doing that right now, on his way to an assignment. Lisa, what's going on? Good morning, she says to everyone. And who else is in the building? Uh, Serena says, "Say what? He's not voting?" I know. Alieze is in the building. Good morning, Alieze. I gotta try to give you if you're more than welcome to come on in the next half hour. And let's just say in 20 minutes for the last half hour of the show. And the Girls Club Inc. is in the building. Good morning, she says to everyone. I see all these good mornings. And so, yes, so I was so disturbed. And the more I try to lay facts down and give facts because he was reacting out of emotion. And I was trying to give him facts. But the facts don't matter to these and he's not a Trumpster. He's just not. I'm not voting. I don't believe in anybody. I don't believe in Trump, and I don't like Biden. I don't like that he stutters. I don't like that that they got to help him up to the stage, and he's old. Yes, girls club. Ron's song of the day, just one of them days. It is. It is. It's. Oh, Alieze says I missed it. Who's not voting? Okay. So for those that are just joining in, because I dived right in because I was so emotionally just. I was saying how this morning I feel so off kiltered, so like off balance. I had a conversation with one of my neighbors last night or yesterday evening in our courtyard, and we were talking about the election. And I said, the gentleman he's about in his 70s, maybe like 71, 72, maybe he's 70 years old. And I could not believe that in our conversation, he said, I'm not voting. Well, you know how I feel about voting, y'all. Yeah, yeah, I know that voting to me is like oxygen. You have to vote. And so I was just curious because he's a black man, he's an older man, and I wanted to like, hey, what are your thoughts? And he said, I'm not voting. And he said it with conviction. At first, I was like, are you drunk? are, you, are you intoxicated? Are you totally in your right mind here? And we went on in the conversation, and all of the stuff that he was saying, I know this is legitimately real. And I know that this is going to definitely be a problem for the Biden Harris ticket because this, like I said, this is a black man, extremely intelligent, works with the young people in our community, helps people, but yet the amount of reasoning, he was throwing out all this stuff. I can't believe that Israel is bombing all these innocent people in Palestine, in Palestine, in Palestine's territory, Gaza. And I said, I agree. I'm with you. Then he said, Biden is too old. Biden is too old. They got to help him up the stairs. I was like, last I checked, they had to help you up the stairs. Like, these are not reasons not to vote. Oh, and so I have to tell you, and I very rarely, I can kind of like hold my own in conversation. That is something I'm good at. I love to have a conversation, and I love to debate the issues of the day, and I love sharing facts. That's just me. But I left that conversation quite defeated. I felt defeated, even though I know it wasn't me that was, but I left feeling like, wow. People, again, this is someone from an older generation where his parents were fighting for civil rights, when his parents were living through Jim Crow. And yet he says, I am not voting. Hi, Kimmy Kim. What's going on, my dear? What's going on? I see you in the building. Lisa said, it makes me mad that they are equating Hunter to Dump. One is the former president running for president, and the other is regular citizen. And you, Lisa, you again, our mindset. But not only that, if Hunter did not have Biden at the end of his last name, he would have never been brought to trial. It would have never even, it would have never gone before the grand jury to indict him. It would have never, if he didn't have the name Biden, because now that was political. And there's no equivalent to Trump and Hunter. I feel like I live in the world of bizarro. It's like the whole world is upside down. It's just doesn't. Someone please make it make sense to me, as they say. Make it make sense. These now, okay, we got that on. Okay, and some people just, Harvey says some people just like to be the polar opposite. Don't get it. Lisa, right? Those are pitiful reasons. And I told him, I told him, I had to tell him. I couldn't just say suggest. And I said, you do understand it's a choice between democracy and autocracy. The choices are plain. There is no blurring between the lines. It's democracy, Biden, autocracy, Trump. I don't understand. And so then I said to him, I had to throw the monkey wrench into the argument. And I said, have you heard of Project 2025 and what will be implemented if the Democrats lose and the Republicans win? He goes, no. I said, you need to know about 2025. It don't matter. I don't think that thing is going to happen. I don't think that anything like that could happen in this country. I've fought in the army. I know that this can't happen. And I said to him, you really don't understand. And I said, I get everything you're saying. Everything you're saying is part of headlines, but you're not reading the facts. You're only quoting to me Fox News. And now I'm realizing from last night's news post of I think it's Singular or Secular, or I think it's Singular Media, which I did not know had amazing reach in America. You think Fox is bad? Singular, I think I got the name right. If someone could fact check me on the Singular, I think it's Singular. They own most of the media in America. And they put out talking points that are right leaning, right extreme. So this is TrendWatch. So this is what we do on Thursdays. We talk politics and what's going on in the world. And then let me see here. Let me get some of your comments in here first. Yeah, again, like Lisa said, those are pitiful reasons. Yeah, Alieze, I said that. I said, I assume that he doesn't like freedom, says Alieze. I said, I was like, you do understand that the Republicans, the conservatives have put out in public, in display, what they are going to do. I can join you. Just send the link. Okay, I'm going to do that for you, Bryan. Let me see that real quick. Hold on a second. Let me invite Bryan and Alieze. I think I got Alieze in here. Alieze, Bryan. Bryan, you might have to send me on my phone your email, because I only have your phone information. So Bryan, send me your email. And let's see here. Where is Alieze in here? And Alieze, could you send me your email? It's also, I know it's in, but for some reason it's not coming up on this list. Alieze. Oh, okay. I got yours, Alieze. I got yours, Alieze. So I'm gonna send yours out right now. Okay, I'm gonna send you out that invitation. Okay, good. I got Alieze. Okay, cool. And if anyone else wants to join in the conversation, Amparo, you want to come on? You're more than welcome to. If you want to, Amparo. Good conversation. This is a good we got a couple of topics we want to talk about today. But let's see here. Let me see what else you guys are saying in here. Because this is where all you guys got all this news and wisdom. Yeah, this is another one. Is he on Social Security? They won't consider his feelings when they take that away from him. Don't get it. They don't understand. I shake my head. They don't care. There's certain people in our society that are so in the dark and so misled that they don't know what's going on. They really... I was totally alarmed because I said, this is an educated person, at least I thought. You see here, Kimmy says, so don't believe in government helping the people, and it's just some bureaucratic organization just doing what they want. But without our government, where would we be? Kimmy, you're right. I mean, think about some of these folks. They don't want, I'm gonna bring Alieze on. They don't want government to be in there, they don't want government, Social Security, Board of Education, because they want to get rid of the education. And there's a reason why to get rid of public education, because if the people are not educated, guess what? They believe in anything. Also, this is about competition. They don't want kids of color to compete. So that's part of the plan to do away with the Board of Education in 2024, or Department of Education, I should say. It blows my mind. Welcome, Alieze. How you doing, my dearest?
I'm doing well.
Cheer me up today. There's got to be hope somewhere.
You got to cheer up.
Cheer me up, because I'm telling you, I walked away feeling like you ever seen Charlie? Well, obviously, you all know, for those that know me in here, Charlie Brown is one of my favorite characters, because if you really want to know my personality as a kid, it was Charlie Brown. And I totally felt like, you ever see the cartoons when Charlie Brown's head is just down?
Yes.
That was me last night, going upstairs, leaving the courtyard, and I said, if he is one man in the Black community, and what are the other Black men? Like my friends that are Black men are all voting. Like my closest friends are like, they know the urgency.
Right.
But I was just like really taken back. Anyway.
Well, it happened in 2026. I mean, 2016.
Yeah.
You have Black men saying the same thing. You have my husband always talks about the story of being on the bus here in DC and hearing Black men saying, "Oh, I couldn't vote on Hillary Clinton because she's a woman." That was it. It wasn't anything else. Since I couldn't vote on because she's a woman. And then you think about the things that this gentleman told you. None of that was relevant to anything. What is that about? It's like, why is he even, how they're like you said, he's listened to sound bites.
It's all sound bites.
Yeah.
Everything he said, and I said, and you know me, I was like, so why do you believe this? And what is your resource? What is your source of information that will give you the indicators of what you're saying?
Right. And what did he say?
And then again, you shift to the next thing you don't
Right,
like
because they
about
can't
Biden.
explain it.
They can't explain why they don't like Biden other than what is in Fox News or Singular's blueprint of what's going on in there. Like they
Right.
paint this, there's the big thing right now is they keep trying to push it back into the media. He's senile. He can't. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Which is the part that's hilarious to me. So they talk about Biden being senile, and after Trump spent all that time talking about sharks and electric batteries in the water,
sharks and electric boats.
Yeah, I mean, and it's been other things that he just goes off on these tangents where he clearly is showing signs of some kind of neurological problem. He's showing cognitive.
There's some cognitive problems going on with Trump.
Issues with him. And so when you talk about Biden may be slower in speaking because that's how he manages his stuttering.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I told my neighbor. I said, you do know that he grew up with the problem of stuttering, which it's quite remarkable that he was able to overcome it for the most part. But he's learned what's called slow cadence,
right? And
to counteract it.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a professor at the Howard Medical School. He and his son both stuttered, but they learned how to control it. So he's a med school professor at Howard University, and so they learn, and that's all Biden does. But you don't take into account does he look at what's happened in this country as a result of the Biden administration? What things have happened that have benefited everybody, and that's what most people don't look at. And like you said, he's not looking at the fact not only are they coming after your Social Security, they want to come after Medicare too.
Yes, they're coming after everything.
They're coming after everything. And
they're coming after everything. And these people don't realize. I mean, I sit there and I say, how is it possible that these folks don't get it? They can't see that the Republicans have never done anything for people of color. The Republicans have never done anything for poor working people. Or working people, or the middle class, or pretty much any of the Americans,
or the veterans,
or the police officers.
None of those people.
Yet those are all their biggest constituents.
Oh, absolutely. The police officers, anytime you get a call from a PAC, which they'll let you know that's not tax deductible, they're calling because they're supporting Republicans. So I never listen to them. But it's a lot of people out there. What probably caught my attention most in this conversation about this gentleman you were talking to is the fact that he's working with young people. What is he saying to young people?
That was my other concern. I was like,
what is he saying to them?
What is he saying to them? I mean, see, Alieze, you know where my brain went, right?
Correct.
I was like, wait a minute, this guy is talking to young people. How is this possible? This is not happening.
Right. So he has some influence. And is he saying to them, oh, you shouldn't vote? What is he saying to them? Which is the group that we have to worry about in this country, are young voters, not being tainted by people like him.
I just sat there. Like I said, when I walked away from that conversation yesterday, I go through these fluctuations of being afraid of this election because I know that the American public is not smart. And I know people will be pissed off by me saying that. But the majority of Americans, this is my bias. The most of Americans are not smart. And what I mean by that, they don't read. Mm-hmm. They don't investigate. I mean, and it shows. I mean, just even like when Jimmy Kimmel does on his show, just simple little questions about America, or like simply, do you know who the vice president is?
Right.
And people can't answer that question. There's some people, a lot of people in New York City, I mean, not New York City, in America walking around that don't know who the vice president is.
I'm not surprised at that. I'm not surprised at all.
But you have those freaking scary.
And it is always interesting when they talk to his supporters and they say things, but they say it's Biden and not Trump. And then they find out that it's Trump and it's a whole different story. Like they had this one the other day, because they have this whole thing about Hunter Biden and this money, right?
Yes.
Where Jared Kushner and this $2 billion that he got
from the Saudis. $2 billion from the Saudis.
While he was in the presidential office, and all of the patents and all of the stuff his daughter got out of China while he was in office.
Yes.
No one wants to talk about that. So they posed the question as if it were Biden's son.
Yes.
And then they said, oh no, that was Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law.
And then they changed their mind.
Then he was like, and the group that was with him took him away, because at that point they didn't have anything to say, because they don't want to talk about the truth. They just want to talk about the stuff. They all have sound bites.
It's all the sound bites, but the sound bites are making. I mean, there's an old saying: if you say a lie enough time, you keep repeating it, people begin to believe it. And that is really what's happening. People, the lies just get repeated over and over and over and over again, and people believe it.
I think the biggest problem is it being replayed over and over again.
Yeah, and that's because of
people
media
on social media. Like I don't post those things. I don't repost things with people talking. If they're just showing what was said that was crazy, I don't repost that, because that's giving them, that's giving them what they want. Any headline is a good headline. So as long as you replay it, they benefit from it. And so I think
that's why
I encourage people to stop. Whether it's D.L. Hughley or anyone else, you can talk about it, but just stop playing it. Stop replaying it, because that's all they want.
I see David Mascoro says, when Trump called Senator McCain a loser when he was shot down and captured, it blows me away when I see veterans support him. Yeah, that to me was I thought surely when he went after John McCain, he would lose military support. Or when he said, what was it for them to gain by going to fight in World War II and D-Day?
Right.
Why would they lose their lives for what was in it for them? Paraphrasing.
And the truth is, he did whatever he needed to do to keep from having to do it, right?
Yeah.
So he made sure he found someone to help him stay out of that war.
Welcome, Bryan.
Hey there.
That's what he and his father worked on, was making sure he didn't go. So he sits around and talk about, people who Purple Heart recipients and their families are insulted by that. All those things he's done, and calling people in the military suckers. I mean, it's all kinds of things that he does that people don't pay attention to, and they need to. Your banner's blocking your head, but anyway.
Oh yeah, let me put my banner over here.
they need to. The biggest problem, like you said, is that they're not reading.
They're not reading
it. And they're also saying what the gentleman said to you. Oh, that can't happen in America. Yes, it can. And that's what they said in Germany years ago. It can't happen here. Yeah. And it was something I read and I actually highlighted and posted one day, is that by the time they realized what was happening, it was too late in Germany.
It was too late. Yeah. That's what happened. And then they were like, oh my gosh, we have no more rights.
Right. And so you can sit back and say this can't happen. And so it gets down to between freedom and dictatorship. That's what it gets down to. And if you're immigrants and you're here illegally, they're coming for you. They're going to deport you. They're looking for 11 million of you to deport. And then those that they can't get rid of, they're going to build concentration camps for you. That's all. It's into our Project 25. They're going to build them, and they're going to put them in there if they get in there. So you have choices. You want freedom, you want dictatorship, and confinement. What do you want? and going to activate the military
Yes.
against anybody who protests, which is what happens in all of the dictatorship countries.
It is, and it really, and I don't say this to scare folks. I just say, I don't know how we can reach some of these folks, and some of them maybe our family members. I have one family member. He fits the same description as this gentleman, and he's he's a little older than I am. And during our Christmas holiday kind of like family chat, he was going all in like, Trump is, but I'm voting for Trump. Well, he wasn't. It wasn't that he wasn't voting; he was voting for Trump, and I was like. So Bryan,
why he was
welcome.
voting? Why was
Bryan
he
is in the room. Bryan's in the room. Gwendolyn, if you want to pop on, I know you got a busy schedule this week, but if you want to pop on, you're more than welcome to. I did send you a link if you want to pop on.
Man,
why did he say he was voting on Trump? Why did he say he was?
He said he was voting Trump because Trump did so much for Black people.
So he doesn't read either.
He doesn't read. Trump did this. Trump did that. Trump did this. Biden doesn't know. Biden sleeps. Biden's old. And again, it's always this thing about Biden's old. Biden's old. And I'm like, what is going on? I mean, look.
If you
go ahead, Bryan.
They see Biden sleep. They've got pictures of Trump sleeping. So,
Bryan.
Whew, man.
Hey, we're man. Everybody's got the black t-shirts on.
Oh,
we didn't plan this.
I'm all, when you don't see me in black, it's rare and it's a shock. But I'm a designer, so that's my
black
work.
Is our color as designers and creatives.
Man.
So Bryan, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because you're in Detroit.
Yeah.
I'm sure you go get your hair cut, or you hang out with, or you get the boys get their hair cut, your kids. What are the Black men saying in their community, or white guys too? Because I mean, I'm just curious about men in general. What are the men in your lives saying about this coming election?
Well, many that I know, not all, but many, and this my circle is truly ethnically diverse. But I'm not surprised, because humans, we're all individuals. Some of the people that I know, some of the men that I know, are supporting this guy, which baffles me. But the majority of the men that I know, well, for decades, have reason and sound mind and are not, and that cuts across white and black. And
okay,
I'll leave you with this one. Xavier, my youngest, his we don't like to say step, his bonus dad, his mom's husband,
his other dad.
Yeah, he's white, but he's aware. I call him like the Eminem of Flint because he grew up around black folks, and he's invited to the cookout, as we say. But he looks at my son. He looks at the kids that him and Xavier's mom are raising, which, they are mixed or multi-ethnic, as we like to say. But in the world, they're going to be seen as black women and men, and especially for his daughters, realizing that, hey, look, block out all the white noise, the bullet points. I'm a guy, but my daughters have less rights than his mom. And that is because of, I rarely call him by his name, but now my new name for him is Convict Orange. And that's who
Agent Orange.
Yeah, I've upgraded it to Convict Orange. I was waiting for those 34 counts. But yeah, majority of the men, to answer your question, majority of the men that I know, that I am confident, comfortable to talk politics and social injustices around, majority of them are not going to vote for him. There's I'd say, if I would play percentages, maybe 10% of the men I know across my circle here in Metro Detroit are going to vote for Convict Orange. There's some that I'm working on. Because,
so you're working on convincing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're working on them.
You're working on them. You're trying to give them facts.
to that point, and what you mentioned with your neighbor, I've been like a broken record in various conversations. I say this, make it plain. I think when I was about to go into ministry, and my pastor was like guiding me along the footsteps, and he said, "Well, Bryan, when you're delivering your word, pay attention to the next one that I deliver. Make it plain." What do you mean? Sometimes there are people who can't get deep in the scripture.
Right.
Say, well,
Yeah, that's true.
So make it plain to them. You know, when the Bible says this, all right, what that means is if you out here in the street and you doing such and such,
keep it. What do you call it? Keep it
plain.
very literal.
Yeah. So to that
Pragmatic.
gentleman
A lot of
that
sayings.
you know,
Keep it
and
simple.
to the people that I know that are leaning that way, I here's where I feel like it's time to do some investment in time.
Mhm.
Like, oh, neighbor, well, I tell you, are you busy on Thursday? How about we go to lunch, or how about we go for coffee? Sit, break bread, and be an interviewer where you're peppering questions, speaking minimally, and listening for those responses, and then putting those away in the Rolodex, and then you're gathering information or intel. And now, so John Doe, so you're 70 whatever. So what was your childhood like when you grew up when you were 10? Just tell me some pros and cons. And then you slowly start to weave into, guess what? I know you said you didn't have a lot of money or whatnot, and you feel that Convict Orange granted you a STEMI, but that was really the Democrats and
in the Congress.
And then say, for example, one thing that I like to make it plain for all of us on your platform, anybody in social media, Project 2025, we keep saying it over and over again, but if he is elected, Convict Orange, if he's brought back into office, their plan is to put the FCC, the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, and the Federal Communications Commission under Convict Orange's thumb. That's never been never been done before. Has never happened before. Why that matters to all of us? If you disagree with Convict Orange and anything he says, or if we post something, if it's under his watch, boom, our stuff can be taken away. We could be thrown in jail. He's taking these lessons from other dictatorship. Yeah. So making it plain. So bringing it back to, hey, you like what TV shows do you get or what channels or whatever do you get your news media from? What movies do you like to watch? Making it plain, like you like, I don't know, say you like cartoons. Who's to say, and this is extreme, but this is, to me, the level we have to get to, making it plain to whoever you're talking to, their personal experiences, acknowledging their feelings. He's lived a long life. I don't know what he has seen. Yeah. And what has gotten him probably to a point of defeatist, but say, listen, man, what did Kennedy say when in his inauguration? Not, ask not what you can, your country can do for you, but ask
what you can do for your country. I have a question. Here's another thought though, and David has one really here. David says, the Central Park jogger who was raped, and the 5 black kids are accused and convicted. Trump in 1989 wanted to hang them. There was a news clip of him saying that. So much for a fair trial. And you bring up those topics to some folks, and they still don't get it. Before you go there, because we're gonna have from Alieze as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say he took out a full page ad.
He took out a full page ad, but what's crazy is that obviously we know that he is. Those kids were not. They didn't do it. They were innocent. They found innocent. They served time that they didn't deserve to serve. And yet he still has not even apologized to them.
So he's never going to.
which is and never going to. So here's another one, because also this is not. I had this conversation with also another neighbor in my yard, in my courtyard. Courtyard is where I have my conversation with just my neighbors. And she's a woman, and she is of age also, and she is a Trump supporter, and she's a Black woman. So, Alieze, here's my question for you: like, how are your friends that are people of color, or just women in general, the women in your surrounding, in your ecosystem? How are the women feeling about this election year, and what are they? Are they voting? Are they not? Are there some that are like, I'm not voting, I don't believe in voting, and yada yada? I mean, do you have some of those too?
Well, no, the majority of the ones I know are voting, and the majority of them will vote for Biden. I have one friend; she's not voting for the other guy. She's upset because Biden had, we had vaccines and we had masks. So she wants to vote for Kennedy. And I said, oh, so you haven't been paying attention to what Kennedy has been saying? Because he's been saying some off the hook things, girl, on top of the fact that the worm ate part of his brain. But anyway, she's like, and she says, either that or don't vote. I said, well, I said, either way, either one of those choices gets the other guy in there. I said, so you have a choice. But just having that conversation with her, it has nothing to do with, and nothing to do with actual facts about what has been done. It's about, I'm mad because I'm an anti-vax person and I didn't want to take the vaccine. And at one point she worked for the school system and they were giving her a letter that said, before they changed the rules, she's going to be fired. And so she said, and people walking around, people had on masks because the typhoid Marys were walking around passing germs out. And so so that's her thing. And Kennedy's gonna go after Big Pharma. Nobody's going. No, he's not. No, he's not. He doesn't have that ability to do. He can talk about it and dream about it, but he's not going to do anything. So, but it's that she's the only person that talks like that. Everybody else is like, no, we can't have this. Even though I have a prayer group that I meet with once a month on the first Tuesday.
Yes.
Those women are like, we praying for this government. We praying for Biden to get back in. we don't understand why this man is still around. That's how they think. And it is a diverse prayer group.
Well, look. I mean, think about this. We have Sandra in the building. She says Kennedy would have been my choice. And this is again, we're not going to knock on anyone that's doing it.
No, I'm not going to knock on it, but I think everybody should read. Everybody should pay close attention to what Kennedy is saying. And also, if everyone should understand, his biggest contributor is also Trump's biggest contributor. And his New York State person took her position based on the understanding that she is a supporter of the former president. And that their goal, and it's a video out, their goal is for Kennedy to pull enough votes away from Biden so that they don't have 200, that no one ends up with the 270.
Yes, I did read this.
And that this current House,
and then the
House of Representatives determines who your president is. And it will be, they're hoping that they can pull enough votes that doesn't happen. So that's what they can do. And if you listen to some of the things that he said is very interesting. So I'm not coming against anybody for what I just want people to listen to what Kennedy has been saying.
No, I want you to say that again. I want you to say what the strategy is again. There is a strategy, on the board,
right,
to siphon the votes away from Biden, even if it's away from Trump.
Right.
To make sure that the electors are both, neither one of them meets
the 207
the number.
Right.
And then the Congress,
the House,
which is the House of the Congress, the House of Representative. The House of Representative will then vote on the presidency.
Right. Which is now predominantly, who controls the House?
Hello. It's
and
predominantly crazy Republicans, MAGA.
And the thing is that they're not keeping it a secret.
No, they're out
not
open.
A secret, because they know that's just pretty much what Republicans have. I don't know when the last time my husband can probably tell me the year, the last time Republicans won the popular vote.
Oh, it's been I think it's been 40 years, almost 40 years.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact year, but but when you look at what the strategy was in 2016, it was the same strategy. So you had Jill Stein; she could pull enough third-party votes, and then you also had the group, and he thanked the group that did not vote.
That's
in
right, he did.
2016, he said it out of his mouth. Thank you for not voting. And they want so between the non-voters and the ones that Kennedy can pull, the goal is for neither one to get if no one wins outright to not get the 270, and that it comes to the House to determine who your president is, and it would then be him. And the woman that's Kennedy's support person in the state of New York, who said she took the job, letting them know that she supported the former president, the orange convict, said that's the strategy. There's a video of her saying it. And if people can't understand that this is all strategic, and Kennedy is not saying anything differently than anyone else, none of them are saying anything differently about what's going on in the Middle East. They're not. No president is ever going to say it. And I think it was Nixon who said it. But then that never go out. No one's going to do that. But you have to understand the strategy. These people who are the Heritage Foundation, the Federalist Society, they have been strategizing. They have their plan, but the strategy includes how to manipulate the vote.
Yes.
Because it's so much crazy stuff going on. But that's the thing that people have to remember. And so I'm never going to, I tell people it's not about me being a staunch Democrat. It's about me choosing between my freedom and dictatorship.
There you go.
So I'm never going to waste a vote.
That's right.
Because there has been no work done to establish a viable third-party candidate with enough traction to win. That's a wasted vote.
It is. And also, let me just go through some of the headlines. Some of the comments. The comments. And Paro says, someone I really adore and respect is a Trump supporter. I've learned that we're all different, but I won't stop standing 10 toes down on the facts. Here's another one. That's what Kimmy says. Yep, pulling out all the stops. David says, Republicans haven't won popular votes since Papa Bush. Yeah, exactly. 40. I think it's like 40 years ago. Can't even believe that's been 40 years ago already. Dog it. Lisa says, a lot of Black people who have money will be secretly voting for the orange man. It all comes down to money. And this is what's going on with the 50 cents. 50 Cent, I think, is Lil Wayne, a bunch of these other folks that are on the Trump bandwagon. And you're like, what the? So here's a thought. Absolutely. I'm going to throw this one out there. It was on Roland Martin yesterday. Roland Martin was talking about 50 Cent should be, he was up there, wanted to go to Congress to appeal for some kind of tax for liquor licenses and all that stuff. And the Black community was being prejudiciously sought out and not getting those licenses for their bars and for their establishment, yada, yada, yada. And then, so the gentleman that was on the panel, he says, why are y'all thinking that 50 Cent is for Black folks when his music has been degrading women, uplifting crime, TV shows talk about crime, everything is dark, everything is horrible towards the Black community. And why would you think that he today would be like, oh, you know what? Let's support the Black community, even though they are too ignorant to know that it was those poor Black people or those working class Black people or the people they diminish that gave them the dollars and invested in what they do in their bad music, in their bad, proclaims or showings of the Black community. And yet, when those people cannot buy your records any longer, when those people cannot invest in your craziness, you will suffer. They don't see the sad thing about all these folks, they don't see the big picture. It's the same thing when they say about Jamie Dimon for Chase. They said he's a Trump supporter. And they said, but he does not understand in an autocracy, talk to Putin's rich folks, when they don't want you, they get rid of you. Right. So it doesn't matter how rich you are. you cannot succeed in a autocracy or a dictatorship.
And I'll tell you about the people, whether they're rich Black people or not, right? The ones that are up there with the money. This is the caste system. We gotta never forget the caste system.
In a lot of ways, it has really nothing to do with Black and white.
Right,
It really
right.
is the caste
So
system.
the caste system, it happens to be built on race in America. So the caste system also in that system to keep oppressing of one particular group, the ones who have money are given the impression that of close proximity to the top, but they really aren't at the top, because whatever goes on is not going to work for them. But when you look at the people, some of them are supporting things and not saying exactly what you say 50 Cent is saying, right? So 50 Cent went up there to testify, but that's about 50 Cent getting more money, right?
Yeah, that's right, about him getting money.
Then when you talk about education, I'm gonna talk about some of y'all may be y'all's favorite person, one of your favorite people, Jay-Z, and this whole support of the Republican plan in Pennsylvania. And people can say, "Oh, he gave this $300 million." No, it's a plan. It's a plan that he is. And if you read the language, and people are not really good at understanding language, it says that they are spearheading. They didn't say financing.
It's right.
So he's given the same support. Like, it's kind of like how they used him for the halftime thing, how they used it to soothe Black people's angst about what happened to Colin Kaepernick. So they pay him money. He gets control of halftime, and he gets the people in. So this man has been an instrument of people, whether you understand it or not. And so when the system changes, and the majority of these schools that they're talking about, 60% of them are religious schools.
Yes.
So we talk about indoctrination. Don't be mistaken. This is not about supporting charter schools, because charter schools are public schools.
Yes.
They receive public funding. So this $300 million is not about supporting charter schools. And this $300 million is not coming out of Mr. Carter's pocket. It's actually a Republican-led plan in the state of Pennsylvania. And those plans, when Betsy DeVos was down there at the Department of Education, a lot of her people, because I was heavily into researching vouchers and everything. I actually kept vouchers out of DC for 3 years by testifying on Capitol Hill. But a part they don't tell you is who it benefits and where it goes. So DeVos and her friends had systems of private schools that were going to benefit from the money. So all this about money.
It's always the money.
So say if Mr. Carter decides to set up a school, so his school will get some of this money. So it's about and you'll see that you'll notice that a lot of them, because they are concerned about their money, they're not speaking out about anything.
Yeah.
As far as who they support, because as Lisa said, whoever said that when they go behind those curtains, they're gonna vote the other way.
Yeah,
they're gonna vote that way.
We have 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So 2 minutes, my Bryan. What do you got? I see you gotta say something.
Oh man. Yeah,
2 minutes. You gotta fit it into 2. You gotta fit it into 2 minutes.
Be fast.
Or a minute.
Make it fast.
Make it fast. Make it fast.
Don't forget the past, the recent past.
Yes.
Convict Orange, his team, the repetition. They do like a Gatling gun, a repetition of lies. After a while, it starts to seep in, whether it's your neighbor or anyone else. And then I feel like that creates complacency in potential voters to want to go do their research.
Yeah.
They're making it seem like the previous 4 years didn't happen. Where were you 4 years ago? It's 2024. This time 4 years ago, where were we? How many people did any one of you guys lose in your family to COVID? How many of you believed when Convict Orange was President Orange, when he said, "Yeah, it'll go away. Just drink bleach." I encourage what I've been doing. I know everybody can't do this. I keep reiterating it, just like Alieze. Read Project 2025.
Yes.
It's a long document. There's two things I'll part with, and hopefully I'm available tomorrow, and hopefully we can talk afterwards, because
we can continue tomorrow.
Tomorrow
is Focus Friday, so we're going to focus on accounts, but we'll bring some of it up.
I want to arrange to play a clip, an audio clip from the famed journalist Bob Woodward of Woodward and Bernstein, how they helped break open the case of Watergate against Nixon.
Right.
I've been listening to his audio book, The Trump Tapes. It's one thing to get our news from whatever source. It's another thing to listen to these interviews that Bob Woodward had with Convict Orange over a course of years, started in 2015 to when he left office. It's how close we were to a nuclear war with North Korea during Convict Orange's presidency. I don't think any of us realized, hearing his voice, he knew he was being recorded. That's just one aspect. Listen to the Trump tapes by Bob Woodward. Do your research. Read Project 2025. And lastly, something that my colleague that I co-teach with has kind of told me when I get so, when some of these kids aren't listening to us, you can't save everybody.
Right. So, Bryan, can I say one thing really quickly?
Yes, my dear.
So hopefully it gets to some Black people who don't understand.
We already saw Sandra said. Sandra says, well, I don't know about Kennedy. That you glad I was able to come. I don't know about Kennedy, but thank you. Glad I was able to come in today.
So this is a real quick comment. I want, especially us as Black people of color, and women, to see how they're destroying the Fearless Fund, because it's not going to just be about race. It's also about gender. That's on the bottom of page 4 and 5 in the document. You don't have to read past there if you want to understand. This is what's happened to the Fearless Fund women now, and it's going to be even bigger. It's going to be more expansive, and they're going to have people in place, a president in place who's going to endorse all of that happening. So please pay attention to what's happening, because if you read the bottom of page 4 and 5 in Project 2025 and the top of 5, it tells you everything they're going to take out of and all the access. You've been getting grants because you're a small minority-owned business or a woman-owned business. That's going to disappear. Understand that. I want everybody to understand that. It disappears.
So guys, I got to go. Obviously, I have to run to work.
Yes, go work.
This was wonderful. Thank you, Alieze. Thank you for Bryan. You guys joining in and sharing perspective, because this is how we learn, because it's more than just one thought process. It's more than Ron's thought, but it's great. And then the great thing about what we're talking about, I hope that it spurs everyone to do the research. Don't just take, if you heard something that you heard here, if you heard something that tickled your ear and you say, oh, I didn't know about that. Oh, I didn't know about that. Go the next step. Go and research it. Google it. Go to Reuters. Go to Associated Press. Go to some of the legitimate news sources to be able to look this stuff up. But you see how Alieze is able to quote on page 5, down at the bottom of page 4 of the Project 2025. Learn it. Know what's going to go. Because even if you are not using it to know how to vote, you might need to know it, because if the orange man gets in, you need to have an awareness of what's coming. And prepare yourself. You got to look at it on both ways. One is to read that Project 2025, not to just only share it, but to also know what to prepare for if the orange man wins. Because you need to know, we need to know how we need to save, how we need to conduct ourselves, where we should be putting our kids, where all these things need to be known. But that is all that information is in Project 2025, and they are serious and they are not taking any hostages.
And
On that
remember,
note, guys,
vote for the House of Representatives because everybody comes up for re-election every 2 years. So
that's
make
right,
sure you
the
get
House
out
of
there and vote.
Representatives.
And we have 33 senators that are up for re-election. Find out if they're in your state and make sure you vote accordingly, because if they have control of everything, life's gonna be miserable.
That's right. So D, dim. Now, I'm not a Democrat, so I'm just saying, but in this case, you need to vote Democrat down the ticket all the way, because the Republicans cannot be trusted to do what's right. Not this Republican Party. And I'm out of here, guys. Later. Thank you guys so much. And I will see you tomorrow on Focus Friday. With tomorrow, we'll be focusing on Instagram accounts, YouTube channels that inspire, bless, and encourage. See you tomorrow.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.